Hey everyone, and welcome to this overview of the opt to invoice workflow with the Sage Intacct and Salesforce integration. Today we're purely going to look at how the flow from an opportunity in Salesforce can create an invoice in the system. Now, whilst we're not going to cover the revenue recognition element, just so you guys know, you can pull revenue recognition through from the op and post and use that information within Intacct to generate your revenue recognition postings. But today is all about how does the core objects like contacts and accounts integrate, and how can we manage that workflow from an opportunity to create an invoice, saving both finance and sales time and also issues with reconciliation. So as we go through, if there's any questions that you have, please do feel free to comment if you're watching this on YouTube, or to send us an email if you're not. And if you have found this useful, please do like and share. We love to get your feedback direct, and it's one of the ways that we know that we're doing a good job. So without further ado, let's get started.
Okay, so now for those of you that haven't seen Lightning before, this is the sales process in Lightning. So here you'll see I'm on an account for Gene Point. So a couple of things I just want to point out is that this sync is pretty much instantaneous. So for instance, if I pop on and I change this account name, perhaps I want to spell limited properly. So I'm just going to pop onto there, click limited, click save. So in the background, that's now just going to kick off pop to the sync. So one of the benefits of having obviously two different platforms is the fact that actually you get the best of both worlds. So Salesforce is known for being one of the best CRMs in the world, if not the best. But Intacct in itself has been purpose-built for finance teams. Yeah. So one of the challenges we had with financials is that actually the Salesforce interface itself wasn't actually designed in the way that a finance team would use it, which meant that we obviously ongoing had a number of issues in terms of how we want to pull reports, how we want to interact with the system, etc. So one of the best things about working with Salesforce and Intacct is you've got best of breed. So you have the best finance package with the best CRM within it. So just to point this out, so you can have a look here. So you can see the fact that this is this is now syncing across. So if I just refresh this, that sync status will be there in situ for every account. So we can actually see whether it has been synced and how often. Yep. And if there's any issues or any errors, it will actually, just so you know, show up there. So you can see that has now gone a tick. So that has actually gone through into Intacct itself. So if I now go in, right, so this was Gene Point Limited. So this is actually Intacct. So this is looking at the customer screen in Intacct. If I now refresh this page, you'll notice that the name has actually changed. So you can see that this is real time. You know, this is happening within a matter of seconds, not hours. This is happening initially. And just while we're on the screen, I want to draw your attention to the fact that actually from within Intacct, if we have Salesforce licenses, we can actually trigger and open pages from within Salesforce. So we can actually go back into that account and see that information. And not only are we syncing fields, we can also sync things like the chatter feed. So if I just pop open my chatter feed, here's what I entered earlier. Yep, so you can see the fact that I'm recording my change in my feeds, but you could see actually earlier, 6 minutes ago, or actually a little bit longer than that, we actually entered in an update on that account. So I can show you how that works. If I pop into Intacct, scroll down, and at the bottom here, I have what we call Intacct Collaborate. So Intacct Collaborate basically syncs the chatter feeds from Salesforce into Intacct. So you can actually see it again, it's all real time. So if I pop on here and I say accounts team only work 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Yep, so quickly pop on an update on there. That will actually refresh that. And if I now go back into my account in Salesforce and refresh, and pop onto my chatter feed against this same account, you can now see that update. So all of this is real-time, real sync. So it not only is it allowing you to have a single point of information, but it's also facilitating that conversation across teams. So again, even though you're using two different platforms, it has an incredibly strong integration. So I guess the next question that a lot of people ask is, well, what if I want to see sort of detailed information on an account? So I don't know, when they received a payment or what the balances are. So there's a couple of ways that you can see that information. Now, if I scroll down here, you can obviously see the balance on that account on the account within Salesforce. So this is basically saying that the United Kingdom company within Intacct has a balance of 380,000. Yeah. But I also can launch Intacct specific reports from the account itself. So if I pop into here, I can actually launch the aging report and see how old are each of the invoices. So this is the same reports that you can access through Intacct itself, just to put this into perspective. And again, it's real time. So if this information has been updated, it's at the point that you run it, that it's not stored. So you can see here that is the aging report for that particular customer. There are obviously a number of different reports. So the other one I just want to quickly show you while I've got your attention is the customer ledger history report. So this is actually, again, this is a detailed level information. Just let this run through. And when this pops up, this is telling me what has actually happened on that account in terms of the actual transaction. So I can see obviously the different invoices. If I had payments, etc., that would all appear on here. So I can see how these balances are made up. All right. So again, it's just illustrating how closely linked these two systems are. Again, these are lightning buttons, so you can remove them, you can add them in, depending on what you want to show on that particular screen. Okay. So I guess the next question we get asked a lot is, how does it work with opportunities? So we talked a bit earlier about the different points of sync. So I'm just going to pop on to this one. So I just want to reiterate some of the things that I said earlier. So the fact that we actually sync products across. So when I go to add a product, I actually get to select from the Intacct list or the Salesforce list. They are the same thing. So they're synced across. So there's no danger of me, adding something and it doesn't exist in Intacct and vice versa. I can obviously go in and I can add various different products. I can, depending on my permissions in Salesforce, I can tweak prices, etc. So all of that sort of standard functionality can be done. But what I can then do is push that directly through to Intacct. So I have a couple of options as to how I want to push through. So it could be that I want to push through at an invoice level or an order entry level, depending on my processes within Intacct. But at this stage, I'm just going to go for the simple option. I'm just going to create a sales invoice. Again, the thing I just want to point out here is it's actually launching the Intacct screen. So you're not trying to fudge the Salesforce screens to work for the finance team. Actually, it's got all of the relevant information on the screen. Anything that's missing. So if I just want to show another, for those of you that have moved across from financials, I'm just going to click post. I just want to point out how nice the error messages are. They're really lovely and clear. So it'll say here, oh, you haven't quite entered that right. So I'm just going to pop that in and give me a warning. Okay, and I click OK, and I can click post, and that has hit the ledger. I can, of course, save as a draft. I don't actually have to post it onto the ledger, but that has now gone into the system, and that is it. So this is how closely that Intacct and Salesforce can be linked if you want to. And again, we talked a little bit earlier about the other integration points. We do have the ability to create contracts. We do have the ability to integrate projects. And we do, for instance, have the ability to customize the mapping fields that we go across. So I've actually exposed a couple of them below here. So you can see actually there's a number of different fields here that can be populated. I've got everything exposed because this is obviously my demo org. But it just allows you can also populate those fields with various triggers and workflows, etc. So we have that kind of capability. And I just want to point out on the right-hand side here that the sync, again, is instantaneous. So that sales invoice that I've just created is sitting against the opportunity, and I can see it from here. So it is one integrated system that allows me to see all of the information against invoice, and it allows me to see all of the different elements like the invoice totals, etc. So again, whilst it's not an on system on platform integration, what it does give is a really great view into the information, and we can launch things like the Intacct screen. So this is just me launching the view invoice screen. We can actually launch that directly from Salesforce. We can see the history, so what's happened with that particular invoice, and we can see things like payment details, etc. You can even, if you want to, click on the pay button from here, depending obviously on your permissions. So again, really quick and easily, full integration, instantaneous integration, and both teams, both the sales team and the finance team, get the best product for them.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have enjoyed this quicker overview of the Salesforce integration with Sage Intacct and how that opportunity to invoice workflow works. Well, I say opportunity invoice, but obviously it can be opportunity to sales order, for example. If you have found this useful, please do like the video. It helps us get it in front of more people, and it helps me know that I'm doing a good job with all of this information that we're sharing. If you would like to learn more about the Intacct and Salesforce integration, then please do explore our website. We have some videos on some of the more technical details around the differences between the Sage Intacct and Salesforce integration versus sort of the more traditional methods, and why it's a little bit unique, so you can explore that. We have some upcoming webinars around the contracts flow. So if you're a subscription business and looking to use Salesforce and looking for a finance system that integrates well, definitely worth exploring. So please do subscribe to our channel, and you'll get an alert, and or you can pop a little comment on this video and we will let you know when that is available. So thank you so much for listening. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you. And of course, if you would like to explore Intacct and Salesforce integration in more detail and specifically to your requirements and your needs, then of course, please do reach out to us. Here at ITAS, Salesforce integration is one of our specialties, particularly with Sage Intacct. So we would love to speak to you and talk to you about how we can help you automate and streamline your Salesforce to financial processes. Take care, thanks for listening, and speak to you soon.